To make it a little easier, let's speed it up to 45 RPM and see if you can make it out a little more clearly. The song, I Am the Walrus, is one song that is full of clues. This Lennon song is, in fact, a tribute to clues and hidden meanings. And he borrows images and phrases from at least two classic pieces of literature, Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass and James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake. A line from Finnegan's Wake. It's said by the character Humpty Dumpty. An Eggman? Humpty Dumpty in Looking Glass is the explainer of things. In this song, John is acting as the explainer. And of course, using the character Humpty Dumpty is interesting because, as every child knows, Humpty Dumpty fell and cracked his head open. As the chorus of Egg Children fades out, the sound continues until you hear a man's voice in the background. Listen carefully. You'll hear a scene from Shakespeare's King Lear.
Serviceable Hiller. You get the advice of my mistress, standard to retire. Is she dead? Sit you down, Father. Bless you.
Why is a death scene from a Shakespearean play being read into a Beatles song already packed with clues? A key song in the entire Paul is Dead mystery comes from the White Album. It's called Glass Onion. The title is slang for a crystal ball through which many mysteries can be solved. This song refers to other clue-laden songs in its lyrics.
I told you about strawberry fields. You know the place where nothing is real. Well, here's another place you can go, where everything flows.
You'll recall Strawberry Fields continued, I buried Paul in the fade-outs.
I told you about the walrus and me, man. You know that we're as close as can be, man. Well, here's another clue for you all.
The walrus was Paul, a key phrase because for those who are still not convinced that the walrus in black was Paul, here are the Beatles being as explicit as can be. Can we doubt the Beatles themselves when they're purposely giving us a clue? This song then mentions Lady Madonna, which could suggest that it's on that song that the replacement first used his real voice. Even today, fans and critics call this the other voice of Paul, his Elvis voice, for lack of a better term. The song ends with another reference to another song from Magical Mystery Tour.
I told you about the fool on the hill. I tell you, man, he's living there still. Well, here's another place you can be. Listen to me. In the hole in the ocean, trying to make your tail join it. Looking through a glass onion.
You'll recall the drawing of the Fool on the Hill and Magical Mystery Tour, in which Paul's head is split. You know, he's living there still. Don't Pass Me By on the White Album is thought to be Ringo's tribute to his late friend. For in the song, Ringo sings, I listen for your footsteps coming up the drive, but they don't arrive. I wonder where you are tonight. Don't pass me by. One of the first signs of dissension in the Beatles were the fierce arguments between Paul and Ringo. Perhaps it was after one of these that Paul stormed out of the studio on that tragic night. And we're hearing of Ringo's sad evening at home, hoping Paul would come over to resolve their differences. He never made it. And Ringo tells us why.
Sorry that I doubted you. I
line comes right at the end of the song. A mumbling voice can be heard at the end of this cut and before the next one begins. When this mumbling is played backwards, the voice is very clearly saying, Paul is a dead man. Miss him, miss him, miss him. The voice is probably John's, though some people insist it belongs to George. Many people point to the song Blackbird. Again, notice the reference to black as a clue to the new Paul's feelings on taking over. Listen carefully to the lyrics.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
The granddaddy of all the clues comes elsewhere on the White Album. The track is Revolution number 9.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
Why should this phrase be repeated so many times and then again later in the song?
9.
When one plays this phrase backwards, the voice says something entirely different. In A Day in the Life on Sgt. Pepper, Paul sang, I'd love to turn you on. And now, as if in answer several years later, we hear a voice saying, in a Beatles song, turn me on, dead man. The final album of new Beatle material was Let It Be. The title itself suggests that perhaps the search for clues and hidden meanings should stop when all should just let it be. But due to the nature of the very album itself, it's very difficult. To begin with, it's the only Beatle LP framed in black. All 4 Beatles are on the cover, but only Paul's picture has a blood red background. The others are white.